Walk into a Spotlight store and it feels like stepping into a retail time warp. The lighting is bright but clinical, the aisles are crammed with fabric rolls and craft supplies, and the layout makes IKEA look like a minimalist dream. Nothing about the place screams modern, and honestly, it hasn't for decades. Yet somehow, Spotlight is still going strong and thriving. Across Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore, Spotlight remains a go-to for crafters, sewers, teachers, and costume makers. While other retailers are overhauling websites, launching mobile apps, and installing self-checkouts, Spotlight is proudly not doing any of that. So what gives? How can a chain that seems allergic to modern retail trends still be pulling in billions? Why does it refuse to change? And why, despite the mess and the complaints, people keeps on coming back? Spotlight didn't start as a slick operation. It began in the 1970s as a small family-run stall in Melbourne's Queen Victoria Market, selling fabric and sewing supplies. Brothers Maury and Reuben Fried saw a growing need in Australia. Customers wanted a place where they could get everything for craft, dressmaking, and home projects under one roof. Fast forward to today, and the Spotlight Group owns over 135 Spotlight stores, plus other retail brands like Anaconda and Harris Scarf. It's still entirely family-owned and operated, which is incredibly rare for a business of this scale. That private structure is part of why Spotlight hasn't modernized. There are no shareholders demanding quarterly innovation, no corporate board pushing for sleek rebranding or digital investment. The Fried family calls the shots, and they're known for keeping things frugal, focused, and fiercely old school. To put it simply, if it ain't broke, they're not fixing it. If you've spent any time in a Spotlight store, you'll know how quickly things can get overwhelming. The aisles are packed with bolts of fabric, stock is stacked high in every direction, and the signage doesn't always help as much as it should. Clearance bins appear in odd places, walkways get blocked, and even finding something simple, like a roll of ribbon, can turn into a 20-minute mission through curtain rods and party supplies. Still, the place never seems empty. In fact, it's often buzzing with people. It's not easy to shop in, but that's part of its charm. It's like a full-blown treasure hunt. You go in looking for one item and come out with 10, half of which you didn't even know existed. For crafters, that level of discovery is half the fun. That abundance is exactly what keeps people coming back. It gives you options and invites you to explore. There's also a deeper layer to the loyalty. For many of us, Spotlight is tied to memories like projects for school, costumes for book week, or learning to sew with a grandparent. The clutter might be frustrating, but it's also familiar. In a way, it feels like home. Spotlight's website works, but it's clear that e-commerce hasn't been the company's top priority. The layout is straightforward, but it feels dated compared to other major retailers. Product pages can be inconsistent. Some images are low quality, and while the search function works, it's not always intuitive. You can browse by category, filter by stock availability, and check local store inventory, but the experience can sometimes feel clunky, more practical than polished. Even so, that hasn't stopped regular customers from using it when they need to. The site is clunky, yes, but the range is massive. Spotlight has tens of thousands of products from fabric and yarn to homewares, cake decorating supplies, craft paint, and seasonal junk you didn't know you needed. That kind of range is hard to find anywhere else, especially in one place. Spotlight understands something that many flashier retailers seem to miss. When you truly dominate a niche, you don't need to reinvent yourself or chase trends. It isn't trying to compete with Kmart on electronics or match boutique stores on aesthetics. Instead, it has built its business around crafts, fabrics, sewing, and home decorating supplies, and it has done that with a level of scale that few others can match. Its stores are large, its inventory is extensive, and that size gives it real power. Spotlight can buy products in bulk, keep prices low, and offer a variety that smaller stores simply can't. This combination of affordability and choice is what drives its continued success. Over time, Spotlight has also managed to outlast much of its competition. There aren't many big national fabric or craft chains left in Australia. Smaller independent stores still exist, but they often lack the pricing power or product range to compete. Big box retailers tend to offer a limited selection, and online marketplaces rarely cover the more niche materials or quantities that serious hobbyists and professionals need. Spotlight, however, isn't oblivious to its flaws. The criticism is consistent and often loud. Customers have shared their frustrations about orders that go missing, items cancelled without notice, long waits at checkout, and staff who sometimes seem overwhelmed or untrained. Even employees have weighed in, describing a workplace that can feel disorganized and understaffed. Between inconsistent training and high turnover, it's clear the in-store experience can be just as frustrating for staff as it is for shoppers. But despite all of this, Spotlight continues to grow. Customers might complain, but they keep coming back. The sewing machines, fabric rolls, and seasonal supplies are still selling. Sales events continue to draw crowds, and whether it's for a school project, a holiday costume, or a new set of curtains, shoppers still find their way to the checkout, basket full, frustration and all. That loyalty, even in the face of constant complaints, says a lot about how Spotlight operates and why it hasn't rushed to change. From the outside, it might seem obvious that the company should modernize. A smoother website, tidier store layouts, maybe even a mobile app, or better digital infrastructure. But making those changes could come at a cost that Spotlight isn't willing to pay. Their current model is built around scale, bulk supply, and affordability. Overhauling that system to appear sleeker or more curated might improve aesthetics, but it would likely drive up expenses and chip away at the value-focused identity that keeps customers coming back. Spotlight is hyper-focused on stocking more, offering lower prices, and staying widely accessible. And crucially, their customers aren't demanding high-tech upgrades. Most Spotlight shoppers want to browse materials in person. They want to touch the fabric, feel the yarn, and compare colors and patterns in real life. For them, the store is part of the process, not something to replace with a digital shortcut. A mobile app or algorithm-driven shopping experience wouldn't add much to that kind of hands-on search. In the end, modernizing just for the sake of appearances could do more harm than good. It might win a bit of short-term praise online, but it risks undermining the practical, no-frills approach that has allowed Spotlight to thrive in a market with very few true competitors. Part of the reason Spotlight can afford to ignore trends and resist costly upgrades is because its financial strength doesn't come from tech, but from property and logistics. The company owns a massive portfolio of retail and industrial property through its Spotlight Property Group. In fact, the family's empire is estimated to be worth over $4 billion, with their property assets propping up the retail operations. They also manage their own warehouses, buying in bulk and distributing through their own supply chains. It's efficient, and it's what allows them to sell huge amounts of product at a relatively low cost while staying profitable even in a crowded market. At the end of the day, all of this reflects a bigger truth about Spotlight's approach. It's not trying to be trendy or position itself as a lifestyle brand. Its priority is functionality, and that's exactly what its core customers value most. The average Spotlight shopper is looking for options, lots of them. They don't need a loyalty app, they want a discount rack. They don't care about branded totes, they care about finding 20 meters of lace trim at half price. That commitment to function over form has made Spotlight less about trend chasing and more about staying dependable. So, will Spotlight ever change? Probably not in the way people expect. Yes, there might be incremental updates, a better website here, a cleaner checkout system there, but don't expect a total glow up. Spotlight is a company that thrives by being itself. Messy, massive, slightly maddening, but always stocked and strangely reliable. In a world where every retailer is chasing innovation and image, Spotlight's refusal to modernize might seem ill-informed, but it's all part of their overall strategy. If you've ever gotten lost in a Spotlight store, accidentally bought 5 meters more fabric than you needed, or rage quit the website halfway through checkout, drop your story in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into one of Australia's most gloriously outdated retailers, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and hit the bell so you never miss another retail rabbit hole. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.